First step is to actually remove the factory head unit. So we're just going to pry this from the bottom here with the non-marring pry bar, so anything plastic to get that off. Use your mother's spatula if you have to, but you don't want to be scratching your dash. It just pops off from underneath. There's actually a locator that will allow you to do that, so it's got a specific spot. Pull that off. These are plastic clips. Put it on your dash. Not going to scratch anything. Undo the 4 bolts. There's 2 on either side. You quickly undo those. They're 10 mil. So we're going to go ahead and quickly do that. The best way to do this is to remove the top 2 and be careful not to drop them. Whoop, just drop one. Drop them in the dash. So I've dropped that on the floor. It's all right. Don't drop it in the dash because it'll be hard to find it. But the bottom 2 that are recessed into the car here, they're probably the hardest to not drop. What you want to do is really just loosen them off, and I'm going to show you how to pull them out really easily with your hands. I'll loosen the left hand side here quickly, another couple of seconds. To get these out real easily is you want to put your fingers on the bolts and pull the stereo out together. So as you pull it out, see there on the side, I'm holding the bolts in place, and that'll allow you not to drop them. So just be careful not to scratch your dash when you do this. Now on the back of the stereo, you're just going to unclip everything. So it'll have the reverse camera up the top right. They've got little clips on the top, same as here. This is the USB adapter, so that's where that's going to plug in. All your power cables, just little tabs on the top of them, and it pulls them all off. Okay, you want to make sure you got any CDs out of the unit as well before you do it. That's all the plugs out. So this is going to be your hardest part of this whole install with this new plug and play harness, is running the microphone. So this, I like to pull this tape off and stick it on the factory screen, the windscreen up the top. So just pull that off, and you're going to undo this cable so that you can run the extension. So we've got a few things on the car here already, which is just for dash cameras, but you're just going to stick that on the windscreen. It's going to be the mic nice and neat there. And you're going to take the cable, we're going to run it up behind this part, or the roof lining, and you can tuck it up there nice and neat. It's very flexible. You can tuck that away, just pull it up, and I like to sometimes put a bit of tape or double-sided tape so it sits in a lot neater. And when you get to the left-hand side here, you're going to pull this panel off, and the easiest way is to undo the rubber pinch weld on the left. So you can see here, just pull that off, it comes off, and it can go back on very easily. And once you've done that, you put your hand behind it and just pop it forward, okay? And you can run the cable around the back there and over the roof lining, so it's nice and hidden. And just go back and make sure your cable management is nice and neat. So there we go. Very neat behind the mirror there. And then you can just pop that back on, and it just clips back up in there. And we're going to run our cables along the bottom here and put all the pinch weld back on. So that's very simple. And then we're going to go across behind or under the glove box and up into the center. You can actually reach your hand down and grab it. So I'm going to simulate that quickly to show you rather than run the whole thing. But once you get down to your bottom footwell, you grab that from down there, put your hand through, and you can actually grab it from the bottom. So let's stick your hand in here, fiddle around a little bit, and pull it through. And there's your microphone, okay? So that's probably the hardest thing you're going to do in this install. Now I'm going to show you the plugs that go in on the dash. So this is the plug and play harness we've made, guys. It's really, really easy. So let's start with these 2 plugs here. They're your powers and your speakers. They're going to plug in directly. Very, very easy. If you have a factory reverse camera, it's going to look like this, okay? This 4-pin plug. And we've made a harness that plugs into there. And that will actually power your factory reverse camera, and it will adapt it to become this. This is now the camera input into the aftermarket stereo, very easily. Now this one here is the reverse trigger. So to get that, you'll notice there's this big harness in here from the old stereo. You're not going to need that anymore, but if you trace it back, it's got a little 7-pin, or 5-pin plug here. You're going to unclip that, and we're going to clip it into this new one. So this is the new trigger. So that's going to be the trigger for the reverse signal, completely plug and play, so you don't have to cut nothing. You can actually go ahead and remove that whole harness if you don't want that in the car anymore. You're not going to need it. Makes it a little bit neater. Then you've got this big square pin plug. This is your antenna. So that is going to be completely plug and play as well. So that will adapt it to the aftermarket stereo type. And that is everything done there. We also have just got to do the USB adapter. So this is on the GTSs or the Subaru BRZs. The BRZ has a different style, but this is the GTS, so I'm going to show you that as well. You'll see the grey plug that we undid at the very start is actually going to plug into that, okay, and that will USB straight into the new Kenwood deck. So that is all the harnesses you're going to need. You've basically got your microphone there, your antenna adapter, your reverse camera, your plug, and your USB adapter. Very easy. We're going to run a GPS, and we're going to show you how to do the brackets quickly. The GPS antenna can just mount on top, and that's pretty simple. If you did not have a factory reverse camera, okay, your camera would look something like a straight RCA coming from an aftermarket camera, which would look like what we just showed you, this one. And you're not going to need that plug, but it's in the harness anyway. For even if you have a factory reverse camera or aftermarket, they'll both adapt. The easiest way to move the brackets is to line them up alongside each other. So just like this, and you'll see top right, bottom left, and that's going to go top right, bottom left, and you're just going to line them up and move the brackets over. So just make sure your stereo is the right way round. All the factory screws will adapt. Then we're going to flip it over. The other side quickly. And that's your brackets done. Now we just virtually got to plug it in the car. We are going to put the GPS antenna on top. So this is the GPS receiver. Just makes the Apple CarPlay when using navigation a little bit easier. Just stick it on the top, and when you have it on the back, you can leave all that cable tied up. You'll plug into the GPS just there, and that will just be nice and neat at the back. Now I'm going to put it in the car. So one thing to note when you're putting it in the car, guys, is there is two different USBs out the back, and this is really, one's Android Auto and one's Apple CarPlay. So just the black one is Apple CarPlay, the grey one is Android Auto. So whichever one you're going to plug into the USB adapter for the bottom, if you have that for the factory location, make that your CarPlay one for your phone, because it's going to be easy access. So for example, I use Apple, so I will use the black one into that factory location. And what I'm going to do is put a bit of tape around that so it's nice and neat. And then whichever one I'm not using, the grey one, you can actually use this to extend into the glove box. So you can actually just drop the glove box down, and you can put your hand up and run the cables around. And it's quite easy to do as well. Sorry, just get caught there. Just run your hand through there, stick your whole hand in, run it out your glove box, and then you have a secondary USB, so you can actually see there it is run, and plug it into the USB. So from there, all you got to do, plug your antenna in. It's going into this main hole here. It's only one place. Everything only goes into one spot. You've got your main power harness, so it can only go one way as well. You've already got your GPS in. You are going to have to put your mic in, and go into the one that says microphone, MIC. That will plug in as well. Reverse camera, very easy. Where's the one that says reverse camera? Rear view camera, there it is there. Okay, and that will plug in, and you're all done. So that will actually just tuck away inside the car, and we can power it up, and everything will be up and running. And honestly, that should take probably about half an hour if you've never done one before. But if you've done one before, it'll probably be a little bit quicker than that. Just sit it in quickly. You're going to have to duck that GPS under there. That will plug in, and there you go. We'll power it up. Put the dash back on and made it nice and neat. When you load the initial Kenwood unit up, you want to turn demo mode off, and you also want to go into the camera, and reverse camera interruption you want to turn on. You can actually adjust your guidelines here as well, so you can actually see there's the reverse camera we've got. You can adjust them a little bit, move the lines to suit the car, but we're not going to do anything with that. I actually don't really like lines. We're going to turn them off. When you load up this warning screen, tick this automatic remove this message after 10 seconds, because it will load every time you boot the unit. And that is pretty much it. When you go into reverse now, it will automatically come up with the reverse camera. The CarPlay will work. You just plug it into your USB. We're going to do a quick video later on that to show you how it works. You can actually air mirror with Apple or Android. The Android is two-way mirroring, so you can actually control it when you pair it up. To get the Apple to work in the wireless mirror link, we have an update or a little patch available on our website in a separate video to show you how to do that. But that's the unit installed. So we're quickly going to show you that the CarPlay works through this factory USB with the adapter. So we'll just plug it into our phone here, which is actually the camera as well. But there you go, you got the Apple CarPlay. It does take a couple of seconds to load the first time round. And there you go, beautiful mirroring. So you can actually do voice guidance, navigation, SMSs, and this one, like I said, has Android Auto, and you can run GPS like Google Maps and things as well. The cool thing about this unit, it has built-in Wi-Fi, so you can actually mirror other apps from your phone, such as Waze navigation, Google Maps, or anything that is different to what the CarPlay will let you use. So that's very, very cool.